Hello! Today we are going to compare Lakewood Ranch and Palmer Ranch, two of Sarasota's most popular neighborhoods.
All right, so jumping right in, Palmer Ranch, built in 1984.
The original?
Yes.
The original master plan community.
The original master plan community for Sarasota. Kind of some of the fun history of Palmer Ranch is that it was founded and created by a female, which, especially of that time was pretty revolutionary. I had to write it down, but it's Mrs. Bertha Honore Palmer who gifted that land and had a real vision for Sarasota. She actually was quoted saying when she came to Florida from Chicago that Sarasota was the most beautiful place she had ever seen in Florida. And I can't say
I agree. I agree.
So, more on Palmer Ranch, but then on the other side, we have a newer community, Lakewood Ranch, which many people are familiar with. It's a big draw for our area. And Lakewood Ranch is actually celebrating its 30th year this year. So started in 1994, so 10 years after Palmer Ranch, and continues to grow to this day.
And it's continuously ranked either number one or number two of the top ranked multi-generational communities in the United States. Which
Correct.
Is amazing.
Yeah, for the past 6 years, it has held that title for number one multi-generational development in our country.
Yeah. So let's just talk about a little bit about maybe the differences.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. So, and coming from the outside, like my vision or what I see it as is Palmer Ranch is more basically like South Sarasota versus Lakewood Ranch, which is North Sarasota into Bradenton and Manatee County. So there's that as far as like looking at a map. And I sort of see Lakewood Ranch as, because it is growing, it's such a mix of retirees, snowbirds, as well as young families, people moving in like myself from other states, tend to gravitate towards Lakewood Ranch.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree. Lakewood Ranch, in comparison to Palmer Ranch, is 33,000 acres. So that's 50 square miles that they have currently developed and continue to grow. So it is a larger master plan community. It does, it's getting a lot more infrastructure.
Yeah, for sure.
So, they're getting the great hospitals. There's 2 new schools coming because that area is growing so much.
Yep.
K through 8 is coming this summer, 2025, and then high school is coming in 2027. So it just shows the growth that we're seeing.
For sure.
And not just, Sarasota at one time, having grown up here, all you would hear is, oh, my grandparents retired there. That's not the case anymore. Yeah. Not when you're seeing these schools being built, regularly, because just a couple years ago, we added schools to Lakewood Ranch as well. So, I think those are important highlights.
Yeah, and just the overall amenities in Lakewood Ranch. I mean, there's just dozens and dozens and thousands of restaurants and shops. And so I think that's what draws a lot of people to that area is, in addition to the hospitals and the schools of that area, having access to that. But what I love about Palmer Ranch is the proximity and the access to the beach.
Yes.
You're just right across the South Bridge to Siesta Key.
Right.
So you do have that easy access.
I totally agree. It was going to be one of the things I mentioned, and how Kate said that Lakewood Ranch is now part of North Sarasota and into Manatee County. Palmer Ranch has actually grown a little bit further south too. They're it's still considered Palmer Ranch, but they have grown into Nokomis, and one of the neighborhoods is another neighborhood that we've featured quite a few times on our YouTube channel, Talon Preserve, and it has just exploded in popularity.
For sure.
I think it really met a need for the amenities that people were finding up in that Lakewood Ranch, communities with pickleball courts and clubhouse, pool. Not that Palmer Ranch didn't already have those, and so many of the communities do. I mean, take Village Walk, for example. But I think, just this new opportunity to build and, create something of your own. And that's being built by Devasta down in Nokomis. So that's been a very popular one. And then not to forget mentioning one big difference between Palmer Ranch and Lakewood Ranch is the CDD fees.
Yes.
So that's a huge
So-
draw for some people.
And tell everyone listening the difference with the CDD fee.
Well, it's it's essentially like a tax on your tax bill. So in Lakewood Ranch, a Lakewood Ranch community is going to have the CDD, and it will be added to the tax bill, and it is annual, and it is not dropping off anytime soon. It is a bond that is owed, to this Lakewood Ranch stewardship. And then down in Palmer Ranch, they do not have that. So that is exclusive to Lakewood Ranch communities. So if you are doing apples to apples and taking, say, Talon Preserve and comparing it to one of the new communities in Lakewood Ranch, like Wild Blue, another neighborhood we have featured on our YouTube, then, they're going to have no CDD in Palmer Ranch, CDD in Lakewood Ranch. So those are very important features to think about when you're, buying or building a home.
Yep. And there are, we kind of touched on this, but there are 3 specific town centers within Lakewood Ranch. Waterside, Lakewood Ranch Main Street, and then what's the third?
The Green.
The Green.
Up off State Road 70 where Tsunami Sushi just opened.
Yes.
Yep. Oh, and you
Fuego.
guys just went to Fuego, right?
Yeah.
So that's another really good. I mean, they have so many great restaurants in there, but
those are just a few to mention.
Just a few. One fun feature of Palmer Ranch that the residents of Palmer Ranch and Sarasota County are very excited about is its connection with the Legacy Trail, because Lakewood Ranch is very well known for its nature trails and walking systems and all of that, but Palmer Ranch does have exclusive access to the Legacy Trail, which is miles and miles of uninterrupted biking, walking. It's a safe space, for people to want to get out there and take advantage of all of that.
Yeah.
From downtown Sarasota to Venice.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a feature that I think it is a selling point for a lot of people. I
It
have
is.
a client who's looking, and one of her criteria is it needs to be on the list.
Yeah.
Well, if you're interested in the lifestyle of Lakewood Ranch or Palmer Ranch, we'd love to connect with you. Please reach out. We can send you our buyer guide if you're thinking of relocating, and we would appreciate the opportunity to work with you.
Bye.